Hey guys, and welcome to the start of the story. So, I would imagine everybody watching this is a member of PCM Daily, so you'll kind of know what this is and who I am. So, I shouldn't need to introduce that part. If you're not a member of PCM Daily, I don't know what you're doing. Get straight on it. So, yeah. First things first. The database obviously isn't out yet, the one I'm going to use, the expansion pack. So this is just the real name database, the PCM Daily real name database. So it doesn't matter about British Airwash, the great company that is British Airwash, because when the story actually starts properly, we'll have a proper sponsor and team, so that's not an issue. So the career, when the career starts, we will be in the Continental Tour, I think, because technically we should be Pro Conti because of, we've got 30 right, because of the amount of riders we've got and the all-round quality. But I think it'll be more fun in the Continental Tour, and we'll still be able to do fairly big races. But being at the lower level will give the youngsters a chance to lead the team as well, where they probably won't have if we were Pro Conti, because you'd have pressure as well at Pro Conti to get wild cards and stuff, which we don't have anyone good enough right now to go to Grand Tours and Classics. So there's just no point for me anyway. But if you disagree, then just tell me. It's your that's opinion, personal opinion. So the story will obviously revolve around the 30 brave warriors that we've managed to get together here. I don't know about why this Ethiopian flag has a pink box. It's really quite annoying because it was there a minute ago, and then I installed this French community database just to have a play around with it really, and it's removed the Ethiopian flag, which is quite strange because the Ethiopian flag is quite clearly on that database. So I don't know, if you know how to fix that, then just help me. So when the story gets started, obviously I have 30 riders here, and because of the criteria that I picked, they're all quite even in average. No one's amazing, no one's rubbish. I mean, Mike Smith, of course, is pretty average, but no one's rubbish. Everyone can compete at some level in some races. Nobody has any potential, as I said, because there'll be no natural progression at all. Take your time. So it's all about your performance for the team, not necessarily as an individual, but as a team. Obviously, there'll be no trainers either. This is just a test database, so yeah, there'll be no trainers or anything. You will just gain points from how I feel you've contributed to the team, and it won't be a lot. You're not going to develop to 83 average in one season. But as an example, let's say, who's a good sprinter? Gomboch. Let's say Gomboch is our sprinter in a certain race, and he's being led out by Ntanga. They're both decent. Ntanga hits the front at just under 2k to go, and he's a monster lead out, absolutely brilliant. And he drops Gomboch off under the Flamme Rouge, and he's well ahead of everyone else, right at the front of the peloton. But Gomboch can only get third. In that situation, Ntanga would definitely get more points than Gomboch. Depending on age as well is obviously relevant. I think they're both the same age, aren't they? Well, no. Ntanga's 23, Gomboch is 20. So Gomboch will naturally improve quicker anyway. Everybody will get points as the season goes on, even if you've been absolute rubbish. Just natural progression that I'm going to put in depending on your age. So yeah, but in that situation, in terms of race points, Ntanga would get more than Gomboch, but they wouldn't actually be given points straight away. Like, I wouldn't say, here you go, here's a point to improve whichever. I mean, a certain amount of points that will be added up to 1 eventually, if you get what I mean. If you don't, then oh well. But if Gombotch had got the win in that stage, then he would automatically get 1 point, depending on the level. I mean, if we're at a really small race where he's by far the best, then he probably wouldn't. But if he's at a level where there's other competitors and it's difficult to win, then he'll get a point straight away. Whereas unfortunately the lead-out man wouldn't, but the lead-out man would get points towards a point. Confused? Right. Other rules are you can't just improve one stat. Like, for example, somebody like, let's try to find Meek here. Sorry to pick you out, Meek, but clearly he's a pure climber. He's okay on the hills, good acceleration, good resistance, but really he's a pure climber. If he got 1 point, he could put that towards mountain, but you cannot improve the same stat twice in a row. You have to improve in more than God, my throat's screwed. You have to improve in more than one stat. Some riders it won't be a problem. There's some really good all-rounders in here, but for some riders you can see they've just tried to be a real specialist at one thing. Who's that sprinter? Hash here. I mean, he's just a pure sprinter, can't do anything else. So you've got to improve things like stamina as well. I'm not going to force you to improve a certain way. It's up to you. I'm more than happy with you to be a pure sprinter, but you can't just keep improving sprint and nothing else. So that's the rule. So yeah, I think that's the basic rules. If there's anything you want to know, just comment either here or on PCM Daily. So yeah, if as I say, if you're not on PCM Daily, just create an account. It doesn't take very long. It's free, and you can join in the fun. If any of the members that have riders in here don't want to take part anymore or are inactive for a certain amount of time, then I'll remove them and replace them with somebody else. So if you're not in the team and you still want to be, then there is still a chance, but ideally I can keep these 30 going for a long time. So I think the final thing to do is just go through the riders, personal opinion in that, because obviously you know the riders, you've been staring at them for the last 5 minutes, so just give a personal take on it. There's no team leaders per se. I mean, obviously there will be team leaders in each individual race, but there's nobody that's like will always get preference. It will depend on form, what country we're in, and various other things. Ideally, the idea was the older riders would be the leaders, but as you can see, my older riders aren't actually the best. Well, they are, I mean, but Van Maxfield, who's the only one in the 30s, isn't actually as good as some of these guys, but he's still good enough to be a leader in certain races. So, thanks for the nice hard names to pronounce as well. You guys did it on purpose. Matej Gombotch is a Hungarian sprinter. I think he's the idea was he's trying to make a Grand Tour sprinter, because he's got very good recovery. Decent on the hills as well, so he's definitely going to be a team leader when we get to tough hilly races. His stamina's not brilliant though, so it'll have to be quite a short race, and he's also a terrible descender, which won't help his cause. Now look at this, what is this name? Klavdij Rakovic I'm going to go for. He's our best stage racer all round. Good climber, good time trialist, good recovery, good acceleration. Again, stamina is a weakness, but hopefully the stages are quite short and he'll be able to own, like all these guys will. Zsolt Varga is another Hungarian. Probably our best Northern Classics rider. Good flat, good cobbles, decent stamina. He can sprint as well, good on the hills. Very good rider actually. Surprisingly good all round, so well done Mr. Varga. Stephen Kelly, Irishman. Again, classics rider, sprinter, slightly quicker than Varga, so if we do a cobbled race that comes down to a sprint, Varga would probably be leading out Kelly. So yeah, you can tell, he's a lot younger than Varga, I think. So he's only 3 years younger, but slightly worse all round. Certainly in the downhill, absolutely shocking descender. But yeah, Samuel Bakili, who is Ethiopian by the way, even though there's no flag. He's a pure climber, but he's not a pure climber, he can time trial a bit, decent stage racer. Pretty explosive as well. So hopefully he can do well in races with mountains. Artyom Ivanov is Russian. He's a classics rider again. Great stamina. The best stamina in the team by far. So if we have a really long race with cobbles in, if we somehow manage to do Paris-Roubaix, he would be a leader. But obviously that's a joke. We're in Continental, so we won't be doing Paris-Roubaix. But if there are any long cobbled races we do, he's definitely going to be right up there. Decent time trialist as well. Stephen Ntanga is South African. A puncher, really. Good sprint on him. Can climb a bit as well, so he's going to be a very, very useful rider at continental level, because there's a lot of races that have hills in but end flat. And he could definitely do something, but there's quite a few others that can climb hills and sprint, so we're not short of punchers and punchy sprinters. That's for sure. Then Waldo, our experience in the team. He's very good on the cobbles, as you'd expect from a Flandrin. Good, decent sprinter as well, although his acceleration's terrible, so it'll take 4 years to get up to speed. He can do prologues as well, decent on the hills. So for short stage races in Belgium, sort of like Eneco Tour, but obviously at a lower level, he could definitely do something. He could definitely win. He can gain time in the prologues, he could go well over the cobbles, and he can gain time in the time bonuses from the sprints. He's a good rider, and obviously because of his age, he's going to be kind of preferred over the younger riders in terms of team leadership. But but clearly he's not quite as good as some of the other classics riders. Tim Bauer, he's a German sprinter, again decent on the hills, not quite as good as Gombosch, but better stamina and much better resistance, which has got to mean something. So that's pretty much it. David Kumano is a Kenyan climber. Yeah, Kenyan climber, he'll be winning the Tour de France then. Very good acceleration as well, as his genuine climbing ability. Appalling stamina, so he has to hope the race is like 50 kilometres long, otherwise he's screwed. Christian Schroeder is another he's a punchy climber, to be honest. Slightly better in the hills than mountains, and 64 sprint, which isn't bad at all at this level. Good prologue rider. Again, if we have short tours with a prologue and then some hills, he could definitely do something. His recovery is terrible though, so certainly no longer than a few stages. Akira Yamada is a stage racer, but primarily a time trialist. Very strong against the clock even, but he can climb the mountains very well. His hill stat is probably not good enough to really challenge individually, but he'll be a very good climbing domestique, there's no doubt about that. Hamza Mujagic is Serbian, again a climber, can time trial a bit, but he's really a climber. Good recovery, so he should be able to go for a few races himself. His flat stat is shocking, and he's by far the worst in the team. Not by far actually, but it is the worst in the team. So he's going to have to hope that the stages with not a lot of flat in them, up and down all day. Anyway, got to do something. James Douglas is our only Australian. He's a climber that can time trial if it's a long time trial. He's not a very good prologue rider, but yeah, again, one of our joint best mountain climber, so he'll be able to do something, I would imagine. But again, poor stamina, appalling resistance, terrible recovery. So he's a youngster, I'm guessing. He's 21, yeah. So yeah, he's gonna. I would hope to think he'd develop these secondary stats first because they're pretty poor. Andrew Goodlock is our first American of 5. America is our best represented country in the team. He's the best climber from our best American climber, I should say. Again, similar to Douglas, he can time trial a bit, better in long ones than short, and slightly better secondary stats because he's older. I think he is actually. Yeah, a little bit. I've just noticed Douglas can actually deal with cobbles okay, which is quite strange. Nick van der Velde is a Canadian sort of rouleur, general all-round rouleur who can do cobbles okay, he can time trial okay. Good stamina. Even though his fight's only 50, he's the sort of rider that could be of use in a breakaway, definitely, on a flat stage, or early on in a lead-out train. Owen Meek, I mentioned him earlier, is a pure climber, absolutely nothing else of any use whatsoever to start with, so he's going to be a very, very good domestique for the leader in the mountains. Hopefully he'll be able to look after him till the final climb. Bill Cassidy is a Cuban breakaway specialist, actually the only breakaway specialist we have. He'll be all over the place, picking up King of the Mountains and all sorts, so yeah, good flat, good hill, he can sprint as well, great acceleration. So yeah, he'll be in breakaways a lot. John St. Ledger is again a time trialist that can climb a bit, but he's he'll be more use in time trials. Yeah, and maybe breakaways as well because he's got decent sprint, but we'll see. Breakaways could pretty random, to be honest. Whoever's near the front of the peloton will be going. Ryan Rodriguez is another Canadian. He's a climber. Not really a lot else to say about him. To start with, he's going to be another climbing domestique. Nick Hashier, or Hasher, is a pure sprinter. He can get over hills a bit and cobbles. He's okay, but he's just a sprinter. He's going very much down the Marcel Kittel mould. But as I said earlier, his secondary stats are really bad, so he needs to work on that. But he is young, very young. He's 17, I think. Yeah, but he'll turn 18 in January or February, very early on. Jurikas, sounds like something out of Star Wars, is another sprinter, and he's even more pure sprinter because his hill is terrible, his cobbles are terrible. But slightly better secondary stats, which I don't know how much 3 in stamina, how much difference that will make, but those two are definitely very similar. Tyler Gibson is a classics rider, good on cobbles, good flat, decent stamina, decent sprint, decent hill. You know, he'll be very good in a lead-out train as well. He's like the first man to kick off the sprint. Some guy here who sounds like an absolute legend. Obviously, I thought when I started the story that we would get loads of leaders, loads of people trying to be 74 climbers. So I thought I'd create a decent domestique all round. Good time trialist, good decent sprinter, okay in the hills. So I'll try and help on the flat stages as best I can. Roger Gochnauer is a Swiss stage racer. His prologues aren't very good at the moment, and everything else is 61 or lower. So he's just a Swiss climber. Mark Bennett is an interesting rider. He's a climber and sprinter, so you know you always need one of them, don't you? He's a solid climber. He'll be able to help on the early slopes of the day, and he'll be a good lead out man on hilly stages for our multitude of punchy sprinters. And obviously because of those things, it makes him a very useful breakaway rider. Because he can get over some hills and then still sprint. Jeffrey Backer is, I think, our only real pure time trialist. Yeah, he is. So, very good against the clock. He should hopefully pick up some stage wins for us. But he's pretty average everywhere else. He's okay sprint, okay on the flat. But yeah, he's just a pure time trialist. I clicked on him. Sander Dieperveen is a another Dutch time another time trialist. This time Dutch again, pretty poor everywhere else, but he can deal with cobbles, so be a useful teammate in the cobbled races, and good stamina resistance and recovery, which is very good to see. I like the all-round riders, the realistic riders. So thanks for that. Alex Fischer is a young Danish puncher, or a punchy climber. I don't know which way he's going to take his rider, but at the start he's just he's nothing but domestique, clearly, at the start. But if there's a hilly race, he'll have some freedom, I would imagine, depending on the team. And then Mike Smith, Mr. Average, look at that, 65 and everything. Clearly he's not going to have too many chances to lead. I can't see what races he would actually have a chance in, but 65 on the cobbles is actually not that bad. I think we've got 3 65s here, so he's got a chance of doing that. And I think that's all 30 of you. If I made any mistakes with your attributes that you can tell, because I did type them in as quickly as I possibly could, then tell me if I've missed what you put down. But hopefully you're not too bothered anyway. So yeah, a wide variety of nationalities, which I was very surprised by actually. Not too many from the traditional cycling nations. We've only got 1 Belgian, 1 Dutch, no French, no Spanish, no Italians. So yeah, quite surprising. I think that's it. Obviously this isn't the career, so everything else is irrelevant. I just wanted to show you the riders and just give you a bit of a general introduction. When we get started, I'm assuming the first race will be the Australian Champs, so that will be our one Australian, who is James Douglas. He'll be going for something. Might have a chance, a decent climber, but we'll see. I think that's it. Anything that you want to ask, just comment. And hopefully the database can come out soon, so we can get it started. As an absolute last resort, if the database takes too long to come out for whatever reason, if there's a delay, then I might have to start it with another database. I don't really want to use this one because there's not enough races. It's just the race-wise, apart from a couple of national championships, it's just the standard release from Cyanide. So it's not that many races from like around the world, like America, Britain, etc. There's not too many races, so yeah, I'd like to wait for the PCM Daily expansion pack really. I have got that French database, but that just looks like, wow, that's so much going on that database. The stats are pretty poor as well, so I really don't want to start with that, but hopefully the guys at PCM Daily can get the database out soon, and we can get started. As I say, any questions, anything you've noticed that you don't like, or any comments in general about my videos, then just tell me. This is my first ever YouTube commentary, so I'm a novice at this. As you could tell, my throat is ruined. I've got a cough and I can't speak, so I probably won't sound like this all the time. And I think that's it. I don't think I've forgotten anything, so yeah. In terms of when we get to the races, I'll try and do 1 stage per video, because I don't want to make them too long, because it'll take a year to upload on my terrible internet. But if a particular stage is boring, let's say for example the race we've got here, let's say this first stage of Bessèges, which is completely flat and should be a sprint, if that was boring, then I might try and cut some of the bits out, just show you the sort of main part and the sprint, and then skip to the second stage and put 2 in 1 video. So I don't want to make them too long. To be honest, the Tour of Qatar is so boring, you could probably put the entire race into 1 10-minute video, just show the final 5 kilometers of each stage. So that's how it's going to work. So yeah, thanks for watching, and feel free to comment.